Welcome back to Melissa Arsenal Analyst. My name is Melissa and today we are covering one of the most loaded 24-hour periods in Arsenal Football Club's recent history. The Premier League title has been won, the celebrations are still echoing around the world, and already the next chapter is being written in real time. This is not just a feel-good moment, this is a defining moment. And if you are serious about understanding what is really happening at this football club, then you are in exactly the right place. Let us get straight into it. Pep Guardiola texts Mikel Arteta immediately after the title win. Here is what was said. Mikel Arteta was asked whether he had heard from Pep Guardiola since Arsenal won the Premier League. Arteta confirmed, saying immediately after the game, he texted me already. We will talk in the next few days. First of all, it is gratitude towards Manchester City, towards all the opponents. We have shown the level that we have shown because everybody has raised their game and their standard. If you do not do that, we would not be here sitting where we are today. You have to realise that some days have been painful, but now we have the rewards. Now, here is my analysis on this moment. What Arteta is doing here is bigger than politeness. He is acknowledging that the competition around him made Arsenal better. That is the mindset of a true champion. The fact that Guardiola texted immediately tells you the level of mutual respect between these two men. But more importantly, Arteta is planting a marker. He is saying that Arsenal had to earn this. They were tested every single week. And the pain of previous seasons, the near misses, the heartbreak, the moments where everything fell apart, all of that has now been converted into reward. This is not accidental success. This is constructed success. And Iraola reveals his conversation with Arteta and a moment of brilliant foresight. Here is what was said. Brentford manager Iraola spoke about receiving a call from Mikel Arteta after the title was secured. Iraola recalled that after Brentford beat Arsenal at the Emirates, he was talking to goalkeeper Kepa after the game and told him, "We can still give you these points back versus City." And that is exactly what happened. Here is my analysis. This is a wonderful footnote to the title story. Iraola, immediately after beating Arsenal, had the presence of mind to joke that those points would come back around, and they did. Brentford went to Manchester City and took points from them when it mattered most. That moment contributed directly to Arsenal lifting the trophy. Arteta called Iraola personally. That tells you everything about the kind of man Arteta is. He remembers who helped, even indirectly. He builds relationships. He understands that the Premier League is an ecosystem and those who compete honestly within it deserve recognition. This phone call matters beyond the sentiment. It shows the emotional intelligence that drives this Arsenal project. Arsenal planning contract talks with Declan Rice and Jurrien Timber, plus a major summer signing. Here is what was said. Arsenal are planning fresh contract talks with both Declan Rice and Jurrien Timber following their outstanding seasons that helped the club win their first league title in 22 years. Currently, Rice is on around £240,000 a week and Timber is on £90,000 a week. The club is also pushing to strengthen Arteta's squad this summer, with one major signing potentially completed before the World Cup. Here is my analysis. This is absolutely critical business for Arsenal right now. Rice and Timber are two of the most important players in this squad. They are not just good players. They are players who define the identity of what Arteta is building. Getting both of them tied down to longer deals is non-negotiable if Arsenal want to maintain their momentum. Rice at £240,000 a week is already significant, but given what he delivered this season, you can expect that number to rise in any new deal. Timber at £90,000 a week is arguably one of the best value contracts in the Premier League right now, and the club will need to reward him accordingly. The mention of one major signing before the World Cup is fascinating. It signals that Arsenal are not waiting around. They are thinking ahead and they want to act fast before the market heats up. This is a club operating with purpose and urgency. Now, before we go deeper, I want to pause here for a moment. If you're watching this channel for the first time, this is what we do here on Melissa Arsenal Analyst. We do not just read headlines. We break down what the facts actually mean for the club, for the manager and for the project. Every story you see on social media has layers underneath it, and that is exactly what we dig into together. If you want this level of analysis on every major Arsenal story, hit that subscribe button right now. And if you are already part of this community, thank you. Your support keeps this channel going. Now, let us continue. The Julian Alvarez situation is complicated for Arsenal. Here is what was said. The latest talk is that Julian Alvarez could still remain at Atletico Madrid, but if he does leave, Barcelona is reportedly his preferred destination despite interest from Paris Saint-Germain. It also suggests that if Arsenal want to land him, they would need to go all in financially to stand a chance. Here is my analysis. Let me be very clear about what this means. This is a rumour. There is no confirmed deal here. There is no agreement in place. What is clear is that Alvarez is a player Arsenal have been linked with, but the reality of the situation is that Barcelona holds the advantage if Alvarez decides to move. Arsenal would need to make an extraordinary financial commitment to even get into this race. The club needs to be honest with itself about whether that level of spending is realistic and whether it is the right move strategically. Chasing a player who prefers another destination is a risky game. Arsenal have learnt from past transfer windows that spending big on the wrong target is more damaging than being patient. This one needs careful monitoring, not panic. Mikel Arteta speaks to the squad as Premier League champions for the first time. Here is what was said. Mikel Arteta addressed his players after the title win and said, "This is great, guys, but when you achieve something, I think it is very important to understand how you have done it. If I have to write the manner, this is what I write." He then held up signs reading, "Champions of Life." Here is my analysis. This moment is Arteta at his purest. Every other manager in football in that moment would be celebrating. Arteta is teaching. He is using the highest point of the season to instill a lesson that goes beyond football. He is not letting his players float on emotion. He is anchoring them to process. He is reminding them that the way they achieve something matters as much as the achievement itself. The phrase "champions of life" is not a gimmick. It is a philosophy. It is Arteta telling his squad that the standard they have set must become permanent. That is the mentality that separates one-season champions from dynasties. This was a masterclass in leadership delivered at the perfect moment. Mikel Merino declares himself fit and ready for Crystal Palace. Here is what was said. Mikel Merino stated clearly that he is fit and ready to play against Crystal Palace. He said, "Very good, very happy, to be honest. My foot is great. To be honest, I am not even thinking about it anymore. I am really pleased to be outside with the lads today. I have been training really hard, not only on the grass, but inside as well with the physios, trying to give everything every single day to be as close to perfection when I'm back with the team." So, yeah, I think I'm very good. I feel fit and ready to go. Here is my analysis. This is significant for multiple reasons. Merino coming back fit matters, not just for the Crystal Palace game, which is the final Premier League match of the season, but it matters enormously for the Champions League final in Budapest against Paris Saint-Germain. If Merino is fully fit and back in the squad, Arteta has another quality option in midfield at exactly the right time. His work ethic during recovery also speaks to the culture at this club. He is not just talking about being fit, he is describing the level of detail he put into his rehabilitation. That is a player who understands the standards required at Arsenal. His return is a positive sign heading into the biggest game of the season. Julian Alvarez update from Daily AFC confirming the same picture. Here is what was said. Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta is keen to sign Julian Alvarez. However, the current noise is that the striker could remain at Atletico Madrid. If Alvarez were to leave, Barcelona would be his preferred destination. Arsenal will have to pull out all the stops to sign him. Here is my analysis. This confirms the picture we already looked at. The message is consistent. Berta is interested. The player is not necessarily available, and if he is available, there is a queue forming with Barcelona at the front. Arsenal fans should manage expectations here. This is not a transfer that looks straightforward. The situation is fluid, and the club will need to assess whether the effort and financial commitment required is worth it, especially with other areas of the squad also needing investment. Martin Odegaard's anxiety on title day. Here is what was said. Martin Odegaard asked Mikel Arteta for a screening of the Manchester City versus Bournemouth match. The boss approved, but as the match began, Odegaard chose to drive home due to anxiety. He was accompanied by Gabriel Heinze and another member of staff who he hosted for a barbecue. Here is my analysis. This is one of the most human stories to come out of the entire title run. Martin Odegaard, Arsenal's captain, the player who has carried so much of the creative burden this season, could not sit and watch the game that would decide their fate. He drove home, he had a barbecue, he distracted himself, and the title came to him anyway. There is something deeply relatable about that. But it also tells you about the emotional weight this squad has carried. These are not robots, these are human beings who have invested everything into this project. The fact that Arteta approved the screening shows the trust and openness within the squad environment. And the fact that Heinze, a staff member, went with Odegaard shows the depth of relationships within this club. Arne Slot credits Arsenal's set pieces as a key factor in the title win. Here is what was said. Liverpool boss Arne Slot congratulated Arsenal on winning the league. He specifically noted that 40% of Arsenal's goals came from set pieces. He said, winning it here in England is never easy and they have done a tremendous job. 40% of their goals have come from set pieces. Football has changed and evolved. Here is my analysis. Arne Slot is making a very precise technical observation here. 40% of goals from set pieces is not an accident. That is a system. That is a deliberate tactical identity that Arteta and his coaching staff have built with extreme care and intent. When the outgoing title holder specifically points to your set-piece quality as a reason you won the league, you know you have done something that the rest of English football has taken notice of. This is not just a compliment. It is an admission that Arsenal's method of winning was studied, respected, and ultimately could not be stopped. The evolution Slot mentions is exactly what Arteta represents in modern management. Pep Guardiola delivers his farewell to Manchester City. Here is what was said. Pep Guardiola issued an emotional farewell statement to Manchester City. He said, "What a time we have had together. Do not ask me the reasons I am leaving. There is no reason, but deep inside, I know it is my time. Nothing is eternal. If it was, I would be here. Eternal will be the feeling, the people, the memories, the love I have for my Manchester City." This is a city built from work, from graft. You see it in the colour of the bricks, from people who clocked in early, stayed late, the factories, the Pankhursts, the unions, the music, simply the Industrial Revolution and how this changed the world. And I think I grew to understand that, and my teams did too. We worked, we suffered, we fought, and we did things our own way, our way. Here is my analysis. Pep Guardiola has left Manchester City. That sentence alone reshapes English football. His farewell statement is beautiful and deeply felt. But what matters for Arsenal is the immediate consequence. The dominant force in the Premier League for over a decade has now lost the greatest manager in the world. That changes the competitive landscape significantly. Arsenal have won the title, and now the team that pushed them hardest for years is entering a rebuilding phase without Guardiola. The opportunity in front of this Arsenal squad has never been greater. The timing of Arsenal's first title in 22 years, arriving precisely when Manchester City is transitioning, is a coincidence that carries enormous weight. Victor Gyokeres, on the 5 days of tension, here is what was said. Victor Gyokeres described the situation for fans by saying, "This 5 days could have been the most nervy, anxious 5 days of our supporting careers, and now we can just enjoy the whole 5 days, enjoy Sunday, the parade, where Crystal Palace have to clap us on the pitch, which will be superb. And these players as well can just relax. The tension and anxiety is gone completely." Here is my analysis. Gyokeres is showing exactly why he fits perfectly into this Arsenal culture. He is talking about the fans. He is thinking about the experience of the people who support this club. And he is looking forward to the Guard of Honour with a smile. That lightness of spirit, combined with the competitive fire he has shown all season in Europe, is a combination that Arsenal have needed for years. He is now part of something historic, and he clearly understands and embraces that completely. Gyokeres on winning the title, not on the pitch. Here is what was said. Victor Gyokeres, when asked if he wished Arsenal had been on the pitch when they won the Premier League, responded, "The last time I won the league with Sporting, I think 2 times I watched another game from home and 1 time on the pitch, and I think there are different ways to win it. As long as you win it, I could not care less. But yeah, it is nice to try to win it on the pitch. We can maybe try it next season to win it on the pitch." Here is my analysis. This is a calm, mature, experienced response from a player who knows what winning feels like. He is not complaining about the circumstances. He is already thinking about next season. That last sentence is subtle but important. We can maybe try it next season to win it on the pitch. He is already assuming Arsenal will be competing for the title again. That is the mentality you want in your striker, not satisfied with one, already motivated for the next. Mikel Arteta becomes the longest-serving manager in the Premier League. Here is what was said. With Pep Guardiola's exit from Manchester City, Mikel Arteta at 6 years and 5 months will now be the longest-serving manager in the Football League. Here is my analysis. Think about what that number actually means. 6 years and 5 months at one of the most demanding clubs in English football. In an era where managers are sacked within months of a difficult run of results, Arteta has not just survived, he has built, grown and now won. The longest-serving manager in the entire Football League, that is stability, that is trust between a manager and a club that has been earned through process, through transparency and through delivering results when it mattered most. This is a remarkable achievement that often gets lost in the noise of transfer rumours and match previews. Arteta's longevity at Arsenal is itself a statement about the culture that has been built. Arsenal linked with Reijnders from Manchester City. Here is what was said. Arsenal are looking to sign Manchester City midfielder Reijnders during the summer transfer window. Manchester City could consider selling the player for around £45 million, and Arsenal are prepared to make the move. Here is my analysis. This is a rumour. It is important to say that clearly there is no confirmed deal, there is no official bid, but the logic is worth examining. If Guardiola has left Manchester City, several players at that club may be reassessing their futures. Reijnders at £45 million would represent a significant but potentially very good piece of business for Arsenal if it were to happen. He is a quality midfielder with technical ability and composure. Whether this move materialises remains to be seen, but Arsenal fans should be aware this is a name being discussed at this stage, nothing more. All why Keane on Arsenal's global celebration. Here is what was said. Roy Keane commented on the global scale of Arsenal's celebrations after they won the Premier League. He said he saw how Arsenal fans celebrated and thought, what have other teams been doing when they win the league? He described the celebrations as completely different from anything he had seen before, saying, this felt special. Everyone around the world knew Arsenal had won the title, even people who do not watch football. The celebrations worldwide were mental. He even joked that if trophy celebrations always look like this, he would rather see Arsenal keep winning trophies than anyone else because they give the true meaning of celebrations. Here is my analysis. When Roy Keane, one of the most demanding and critical voices in football punditry, is moved by what Arsenal achieved and how their fans responded, you know something genuinely special happened. The global nature of the Arsenal fan base is not new information, but the scale of the reaction to this particular title-winning moment clearly surprised even seasoned observers like Keane. Arsenal had not won the league in 22 years. That means generations of supporters who had waited their entire adult lives for this moment. The emotion that poured out was not manufactured. It was real, and Keane recognised it. Ousmane Dembele on Arsenal ahead of the Champions League final. Ousmane Dembele has spoken ahead of the Champions League final in Budapest between Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal. Dembele had an injury scare but has confirmed he is now fit. On the subject of Arsenal, Dembele said it is a difficult team. They finished first in the Champions League. They were Premier League champions. They are a serious team that works very well defensively, and they are good in attack too. So I think it is going to be a great battle. Now, here is my full analysis. The reality for Arsenal as they approach Budapest is that they face a Paris Saint-Germain side with serious attacking threats, and Dembele is at the top of that list. His injury scare briefly gave Arsenal fans some hope, but it is now clear he will be available for the final. When a player of Dembele's quality calls you a serious team, that is not flattery. That is a professional athlete assessing the challenge in front of him and being honest about it. He respects Arsenal's defensive organisation. He respects their attacking quality, and he is telling the football world that this will be a genuine contest, not a straightforward Paris Saint-Germain victory. For Arsenal, the evidence on the pitch supports Dembele's assessment. They finished top of the Champions League phase. They conceded fewer goals in Europe than any other team. That is not luck. That is structure. That is Arteta's system functioning at the highest level. The challenge in Budapest is to maintain that defensive solidity while also creating enough offensively to win the match. Players like Bukayo Saka and Victor Gyokeres carry that attacking responsibility. The situation is clear. Arsenal belong in this final, and their opponents know it. Gabriel Martinelli on PSG. Being favourites for the Champions League final, Gabriel Martinelli addressed the narrative that Paris Saint-Germain are favourites for the final. He said, I think we are already used to it. When you play for a big club competing for titles, you have to shield yourself from the outside noise. The same thing happened in the Premier League too. If we had listened to what people outside were saying, we would not have managed to win. So I think we have to stay focused on our work. We trust what we have here inside the club, our players, our staff, our fans. So like I said, we are going to Budapest with the mentality of becoming champions. It is also worth noting that Martinelli is in a battle with Leandro Trossard for the starting position on the left side against Paris Saint-Germain. Martinelli has had a quieter domestic season in front of goal, but has performed better in Europe, scoring 6 times. Here is my full analysis. Martinelli's response is measured and intelligent. He is drawing a direct line between how Arsenal ignored external doubters during the Premier League campaign and how they must approach this Champions League final. That is not bravado. That is documented recent history. People said Arsenal would not win the Premier League. They did. People said they were not at Paris Saint-Germain's level in Europe. The evidence on the pitch over an entire Champions League campaign suggests otherwise. The battle between Martinelli and Trossard for the starting role on the left is one of the most interesting decisions Arteta faces in Budapest. Trossard offers reliability, defensive discipline, and the kind of consistent involvement that a team needs when defending deep. Martinelli offers something different: explosive pace, the ability to spring the counter-attack, and the kind of unpredictability that can hurt even the best defences in Europe. Both players have contributed in Europe this season. The decision Arteta makes will tell us a great deal about his tactical approach for the final. Whatever he decides, Martinelli's mindset heading into Budapest is exactly what you want from a player fighting for his place. He is focused, confident and ready. Mikel Arteta on Riccardo Calafiori. Arteta spoke about Riccardo Calafiori ahead of the final stages of the season. He said, "I love him. I think he is a person with unique charisma and personality. Ricci walks through here and the energy changes, and that is an incredible power. A lot of the time, he does not even realise it. And my job is to help him stay focused and channel all that energy into where it needs to go so he can become the player he is capable of being, because he absolutely has everything. He is a player with incredible ability, and as a person, he is a gem. Here is my full analysis." Arteta's words about Calafiori are revealing on multiple levels. He is not just praising a player. He is describing a responsibility he feels toward that player's development. That phrase, "my job is to help him channel that energy," tells you that Arteta sees untapped potential in Calafiori that has not yet been fully realised. That is simultaneously exciting and a sign of how much more this player can offer. Calafiori had a slow start to Arsenal after his arrival. He took time to find his footing, but he has developed into a genuinely powerful and defensively sound left-back. The fact that Arsenal now have both Calafiori and Piero Hincapié competing in that position gives the squad real depth and quality. The situation is that Arteta has built a squad where competition for places is fierce, even in positions that are considered well covered. That is the mark of a squad being built, not just for one season, but for sustained success. Calafiori, with the right guidance, has the ability to become one of the elite left-backs in European football. Arteta clearly believes that. Given what Arteta has delivered this season, his judgment deserves to be taken seriously. Let me bring everything together for you now. Arsenal have just won the Premier League for the first time in 22 years. That alone is historic. But what makes this moment truly remarkable is the context surrounding it. Pep Guardiola has left Manchester City. Arsenal are in the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain in Budapest. Mikel Merino is fit and available. Declan Rice and Jurrien Timber are set for new contracts. The club is already moving in the transfer market. And the squad, from Odegaard's quiet anxiety on title day to Gyokeres already thinking about winning it on the pitch next season, is driven by the right mentality. The situation is that Arsenal are not a club celebrating and standing still. They are a club that has won and is already building for what comes next. That is the difference between a one-season wonder and a genuine project. Everything about how Arteta manages this team, the individual conversations, the tactical discipline, the set-piece mastery, the emotional intelligence, points to a club that understands what sustained success requires. Budapest is next, and this Arsenal team has earned the right to believe they can win it. Thank you for watching, Melissa, Arsenal Analyst. If you found this analysis useful, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a breakdown. Share this video with any Arsenal supporter who wants more than just headlines. And I will see you in the next one.